God never begins anything until He has already finished it. That means you were not an accident in motion. You were a conclusion set in motion. You are not trying to become something. You are walking toward what has already been spoken. Before you breathed your first breath, heaven had already declared your final chapter. Before you were seen by your parents, you were completed by your Creator. Your life is not a mystery to God. It is a manuscript already written in eternity, now unfolding in time. What you are stepping into is not an experiment, it is execution. This new chapter of your life is not something God is trying to figure out. It is something He has already authored, and now it's your season to step into what was settled long ago. Your future is not ahead of you, it's within you. What God placed in you is the map to where you're going. He does not give you a destination without a deposit. That dream, that vision, that hunger you feel is not ambition. It is memory. It's the echo of eternity trying to speak louder than the noise of your present limitations. The reason you can't shake that calling is because it is older than time. God placed something eternal inside your temporary body so that your life would not be driven by the visible, but led by the invisible. The answers are not in the stars or the systems. They're in your spirit. You don't need to chase it, you need to awaken it. Your future is not a destination to be discovered, it's a blueprint to be built. Before you were formed, your ending was already decided. That means you're not living to find out what happens. You're living to reveal what's already written. That also means that the devil is not fighting your past. He's terrified of your finished future. He knows he cannot rewrite what God has already sealed, so he tries to distract you with detours and disappointments. But here's the good news: God doesn't need a perfect history to complete a perfect destiny. Even your detours are included in the divine outline. Even your failures have been factored into your future. Nothing surprises the author of your life, because nothing is being written as he goes. What feels like a battle to you is just a paragraph in the process. You are not fighting for victory. You are walking in what is already victorious. This new chapter is not a reaction. It's a revelation waiting to manifest. God is not adjusting His plan based on your situation. He is not rewriting based on what others did to you. He's simply waiting for the right moment to reveal what He already completed. You see, the reason it's taking so long is because great stories are written with patience, not panic. You don't rush the pen of a master author. When God writes, He doesn't scribble. He scripts with intention. That delay you feel is not a punishment. It is precision. He is aligning the characters, setting the stage, arranging the atmosphere so that when the curtain rises, what unfolds will make every waiting season worth it. What seemed silent was never empty. It was sacred preparation for your unveiling. Understand that this next chapter will not look like the last one. Because when God starts writing again, it's not to revise, it's to release. What's coming will not be familiar because it's not recycled. This is not a sequel. It's a new volume. God is not picking up where you left off. He's turning the page to a brand new beginning that was hidden in His heart for you since before the foundation of the world. That's why you've been uncomfortable. Because you've outgrown the chapter you're in. You're restless not because you're failing, but because you're finished with this level. And when God gets ready to reveal the next phase, He often makes the current one intolerable. The pressure is not a curse, it's a push. It's the author telling you, you can't stay here. There's more in you that I'm about to unfold. So if things are shifting, let them. If people are walking away, let them. If doors are closing, don't panic. Pages don't turn quietly. Sometimes they tear. But every ending is evidence that a new scene is beginning. And when God writes, He writes with the authority of someone who cannot fail. This isn't just a better chapter, it's a divine one. One that eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, and no mind has imagined. What you're about to live was too big to be explained. So God chose to reveal it instead. The author of your life is not done. He's just beginning again. The delay is not denial. It's divine editing. What looks like silence is not heaven ignoring you. It's heaven revising the manuscript of your destiny with wisdom beyond your understanding. Sometimes what you prayed for with passion was not what you needed for your purpose. And because God is not emotional, He is intentional. He does not give you what simply excites you. He gives you what will establish you. You thought the door should have opened by now. You thought the relationship should have lasted. You thought the opportunity should have worked. But the author of your life said, not yet. Not because you were unworthy, but because He was still removing characters, cutting scenes, and rewriting outcomes that could have compromised what's coming. What you call a setback is simply God removing what does not belong in the next chapter. You see, you don't take everything from one chapter into the next. Some things were only assigned to one season. Some people were only characters in one scene. And when their role is over, you have to release them, or risk contaminating the new with residue from the old. That door didn't close to punish you. It closed to preserve you. That delay didn't show up to stop you. It arrived to strengthen you. Sometimes God pauses your progress so He can purify your path. He won't allow what is toxic to travel with you into what is holy. So what you thought was rejection was actually redirection. What felt like being forgotten was actually divine focus. He wasn't done with the story. He was fixing the flow. He's not punishing you. He's positioning you. There is a difference. Punishment deals with your past. Positioning prepares you for your purpose. When God edits your life, it may feel like loss, but it's really alignment. You lost the job. You were being moved. You lost the relationship. You were being released. You lost the plan. You were being upgraded. If God had answered some of your prayers the way you prayed them, you'd still be trapped in a chapter far below your calling. But He loves you too much to leave you with what you wanted when He knows what you were born for. That no was mercy. That wait was grace. That not now was heaven's way of saying, you're worth more than this. Delays are often where character is developed, trust is tested, and identity is refined. That hidden season you're in is not wasted time. It is the construction site of your next manifestation. God edits in secret before He reveals in public. And while you may be tempted to think nothing is happening, remember that every great book spends the most time in the editing room. That's where clarity is added, excess is removed, and the voice of the author becomes unmistakable. So don't despise the delay, lean into it. Ask God not just to change the situation, but to change you within the situation. Because when the chapter turns, it won't just be about what you gained. It will be about who you became. The delay has never been a dead end. It's always been divine development. You are not stuck. You're being shaped. You are not forgotten. You are being focused. You are not being withheld from. You are being made ready for something too big to rush. You're not just waiting on the next chapter. The next chapter is waiting on a new you. The kind of you that's not easily offended. The kind of you that doesn't shrink under pressure. The kind of you that can carry the weight of the blessing without being crushed by the weight of insecurity. And so, the hand of God edits, cuts, revises, until what remains is not just presentable but powerful. There will come a moment when what you've been waiting for shows up so clearly, you'll forget how long it took. You'll look back and thank God. He didn't answer your prayer on your timetable. You'll be grateful that what you thought was delay was actually divine design. And you'll understand that while the author took his time, he never lost his place in the story. He was always writing strategically, masterfully, faithfully. So let patience have her perfect work. Let the editing continue. Because when the next chapter is revealed, it will read with a power that only heaven could compose. And the world will not see someone who was delayed. They will see someone who was divinely prepared. Your pain was the preparation for your platform. Nothing in your life has been wasted. Not one tear, not one betrayal, not one sleepless night. The crushing, the breaking, the pressing, it all had purpose. You may have thought you were being buried, but in truth, you were being planted. Because before God elevates you, He excavates you. He digs deep to build strong. And the deeper the pain, the higher the platform it is meant to support. That heartache didn't come to destroy you. It came to reveal what could no longer go with you. That loss was not the end of your story. It was the threshold of your becoming. You had to bleed before you could bless. You had to break before you could build. Pain was not your enemy. It was your escort into purpose. You cannot enter a new season with the old perspective. You can't carry yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's mandate. The version of you that survived the last season is not the one called to lead in this one. God had to use pain to open your eyes because comfort never creates clarity. You don't gain kingdom vision in a place of ease. You gain it in the crucible of contradiction. You learn to discern not when everything is going well, but when nothing seems to be working. It's in the wilderness that the old lens is stripped away and the new insight is born. That confusion, that frustration, that ache, it was heaven's tool to refine your sight. You don't need more information, you need transformation. And that only happens when what you thought you knew gets shattered, so that what you're truly called to becomes undeniable. What broke you was allowed to build you. And I say allowed, because pain may come from people, but permission comes from God. Nothing touches your life without first passing through His sovereign filter. If it was allowed, it will be used. If it was permitted, it will produce. The pain you felt was the construction of the internal capacity required to carry the next level. Some lessons cannot be learned through instruction. They must be learned through endurance. You didn't just survive that heartbreak. You inherited a heart strong enough to lead others out of their own. You didn't just walk through the fire. You came out as proof that fire can't consume purpose. The enemy hoped the breaking would break you. But what he didn't realize is that broken vessels pour more. What shattered your confidence was the same thing that birthed your calling. What disappointed you was sent to develop you. God will often use what offends you to promote you. He will allow what you trusted to fail, so you'll stop trusting what was never meant to hold you. That closed door, it matured you. That betrayal, it deepened you. That silence, it taught you how to hear God in the dark. Some things in your life weren't setbacks. They were surgeries. God was removing attachments that were blocking your anointing. He was subtracting to multiply. He was frustrating your plans to fulfill His. The crushing weight of disappointment wasn't meant to stop you. It was pressing out the oil. It was squeezing out what's stale so what's sacred could emerge. Development always disguises itself as disappointment because what is unseen must be formed before it can be revealed. You see, the platform God is preparing for you isn't a stage. It's a stewardship. It's not about being seen. It's about being stable. And He will never give public influence to someone who hasn't developed private integrity. Pain produces that kind of depth. It humbles the soul and heals the ego. It brings you face to face with your weakness, so you can finally rely on His strength. And once you've walked through it, once you've endured it, once you've allowed it to shape you, there will be a boldness, a clarity, a fire in you that cannot be faked. People will ask where it came from, and you'll say, from the pain that tried to kill me, but ended up creating me. The platform is not coming despite your pain, it's coming because of it. The platform is not your reward, it's your responsibility. You were not just delivered from something, you were delivered for something. The pain prepared your voice to carry weight. The process taught you not just how to speak, but how to embody the message. You are not just anointed because you read a book. You are anointed because you walked through hell and still believed. You are not just a leader because you have charisma. You are a leader because you've been crushed and still carry joy. The pain was real, but so is the promise. And now, what once made you weep will make others worship. What once felt like death will now produce life. What was meant to break you has built a platform that only heaven could construct. God never writes backward, only forward. He is not the author of regrets. He is the architect of redemption. He doesn't go back to rewrite your past like an insecure writer crossing out lines of shame. He moves forward with vision, knowing that even the broken pieces have been built into His blueprint. God is not interested in erasing your history. He is committed to fulfilling your destiny. What you think needs fixing, He plans to fulfill. You don't need to rewind the tape of your life to make sense of it. You need to step forward into what was already waiting. He is not calling you to re-edit the past. He is calling you to live out what has always been hidden inside you. He doesn't revise your past, He replaces it with purpose. That's why the scars remain, but the sting is gone. Because when God rewrites your story, He doesn't cover it in shame. He covers it in glory. He takes what the enemy meant for evil and doesn't just cancel it. He converts it. The betrayal becomes the backdrop for your breakthrough. The loss becomes the womb of legacy. The confusion becomes the compass for clarity. And suddenly, what once made no sense becomes the very testimony that shifts atmospheres and delivers others. He does not need your story to be clean. He needs it to be surrendered. And when you place it in His hands, He transforms it from a record of pain to a revelation of purpose. This next chapter is not about fixing the former, but fulfilling what was always hidden in you. You don't need restoration to who you used to be. You need revelation of who you've always been. The version of you that's coming forth in this chapter has been waiting in the shadows, held back not by failure, but by timing. And now that the clock of heaven has struck the fullness of time, God is not sending you back. He is calling you deeper. This is not a repeat. This is a release. You are not picking up broken pieces. You are picking up divine momentum. The next chapter doesn't carry the weight of your old identity. It carries the wind of your original intent. You were never meant to live life trying to fix what went wrong. You were born to manifest what's been right all along. There is a holy design in your DNA that tragedy cannot erase and trauma cannot alter. And when God begins to turn the page, He does so not because you finally earned it, but because you finally outgrown what was. The old mindset, the old relationships, the old fears, they have expired. You have outlived the season of survival. Now begins the era of significance. What's coming is not compensation, it's continuation. The seed of greatness planted in you before time began is now breaking through the soil of obscurity. The hidden you is becoming the revealed you, not because of what you fixed, but because of what He finished. You must understand, God writes from eternity, not from experience. That means He's not reacting to your decisions. He's unveiling His design. He doesn't panic when you fall. He plans for your comeback. He doesn't scratch out the past. He sovereignly turns it into strategy. Every mistake has been redeemed. Every failure has been folded into the plot. Every delay has been made part of the divine tempo. This next chapter is not you recovering from what happened. It is you becoming what was always there, hidden behind your insecurities, buried under your guilt, waiting beneath your disappointment. There has always been greatness, purpose, glory. And now the author says, it's time. So don't waste energy trying to fix what God has already forgiven. Don't live your life mourning a previous chapter that He has already closed. You are not being called to revisit. You are being called to rise. The page is turning. The pen is moving. And the one who writes does not use erasers. He uses eternal ink. He doesn't write backward because your destiny is not in reverse. He doesn't revisit the former because your future is far greater than what's been. What's ahead of you is not built on what you've lost. It's built on what you were always meant to release. This is not restoration of what was. It is the revelation of what is. And when God writes this next chapter, it won't just change your life. It will redefine the lives of everyone who reads it through you. The chapter God is writing will require you to turn the page. You cannot enter into what's next while clinging to what was. You can't walk forward while your heart remains entangled in yesterday. God does not write new chapters for people who refuse to close old ones. He is a forward-moving God, never stagnant, never stuck. And if you are to walk with Him, you must also move with Him. The pain of the past may be real, but the promise of the future is greater. Holding on to what was may feel safe, but it is robbing you of what is. You were not called to live in memories. You were called to live in movement. You were not born to be a historian of what happened, but a pioneer of what's possible. And to step into the new chapter, you must be willing to close the door on the old sentence. You must let go of what was to lay hold of what is. It's not that the past was all bad. It may have had blessings, miracles, seasons of joy. But even the good becomes a burden when it outlives its season. Manna was from God, but only for yesterday. If you try to hoard what God gave for a moment, you'll miss what He's giving for your future. Some relationships, some roles, some routines. They were right for a season, but now they're standing in the way of what's next. And as long as you're holding on to what used to work, you'll never have hands free enough to receive what's now being released. God is not just inviting you into a new place. He is requiring that you release what no longer belongs in your life. It may be familiar, it may be comfortable, but it is no longer fruitful. And what does not bear fruit in the new chapter must be pruned before it poisons your progress. Emotional attachment to the past is the enemy of prophetic movement. You cannot follow the Spirit and your sentiments at the same time. The heart that longs for Egypt cannot possess the promise of Canaan. Emotional loyalty to what used to be will blind you to what's being born. Some people are not stuck because God has not spoken. They are stuck because they refuse to let go. You cannot walk into destiny dragging dead weight. You cannot claim inheritance while still idolizing the wilderness. You can't soar while trying to fix what was meant to fall off. It's not personal, it's prophetic. That closed door is not rejection, it's redirection. That silence is not absence, it's alignment. God is pruning your soul of attachments that have expired so that your spirit can receive instructions that will elevate. This is the season where you must trust the turning of the page. Even if you don't understand the next part of the story, you must believe the author is good. Even if you can't predict what's coming, you must trust who's writing it. Faith is not found in knowing the plot. It's found in trusting the pen. God knows what He's doing. He knows what you're becoming. And He knows what can and cannot come with you. So let Him turn the page. Let Him shut the chapter. Let Him sever the soul ties, cancel the appointments, shift the direction, reroute the path. What's ahead is not just new, it's necessary. What's coming is not just different, it's divine. But you'll never see it if you're still crying over what's already been written and done. There are people God is calling right now not to build, but to break away, but to release. Not to look back, but to step out. This is the hour of movement, not nostalgia. This is the moment of forward obedience, not backward sentiment. You must silence the inner longing for what used to feel like home. Because your home now is in His Word, in His promise, in His presence. And where He is going, your future is already waiting. Let the page turn. Let the silence come. Let the uncomfortable space between chapters stretch your faith. Because when the next paragraph begins, it will make sense why the old sentence had to end. You'll realize the story was never finished. It was just waiting for your surrender. The new chapter is not just for you, it's through you. God never blesses you just to decorate your life. He blesses you to demonstrate His purpose. You were never meant to be a reservoir. You were always meant to be a river. What is being released into your life in this new chapter is not just for comfort, it is for commission. You are not being raised to be applauded, you are being raised to be assigned. Every new page that heaven turns is a platform being built, not for popularity but for purpose. What God is unfolding in you is not just a personal breakthrough. It is a generational blueprint. Others are waiting on the testimony that is being formed in the hidden places of your obedience. God is not blessing you to impress the world, but to impact it. The favor on your life was never designed to elevate your image. It was meant to manifest His kingdom. You weren't called to walk in abundance just to enjoy luxury, but to enforce legacy, wealth, influence, promotion. These are not end goals, they are tools in the hand of purpose. If God's blessing stops with you, it dies with you. But if it flows through you, it multiplies beyond you. You are not a billboard for success. You are a vessel of significance. That house you will build, that business you will run, that stage you will stand on, it is not for the applause of men, but for the advancement of divine destiny. The platform is not about showing off. It's about showing up for your calling. You are not being elevated for attention, but for assignment. The increase coming into your life isn't random. It's a response to the weight you are now ready to carry. God does not promote by popularity. He promotes by preparation. He does not elevate people for entertainment. He elevates them for execution. This chapter is not the climax of your journey. It is the beginning of your release. You were hidden so that you could be formed. Now you are being revealed because you've been made ready. The anointing on your life will not be explained by credentials or connections. It will be recognized by fruit. And that fruit will feed more than just your household. It will nourish dry places, broken hearts, confused minds, and wandering souls. This chapter will be a testimony others will read and be transformed by. Your story is not for shame, it's for strategy. Your scars are not your weakness, they are your signature. When others read the pages of your pain, perseverance, and promotion, they won't just be inspired, they will be instructed. They will see what God can do with someone who refused to quit, who dared to believe, who chose to surrender. What once looked like a season of silence will echo loudly in the ears of those who've been doubting if God still writes miracles. You will become proof. Proof that failure doesn't disqualify. Proof that delay doesn't deny. Proof that obedience still leads to overflow. Your life will become a manual of mercy, a living letter from heaven read by everyone who crosses your path. So do not shrink when God starts expanding you. Do not hide when the spotlight finds you, not because of ego, but because of assignment. This is not about you becoming famous, it's about Jesus becoming visible. Every door that opens, every stage that rises, every opportunity that falls in your lap is not for decoration. It is for demonstration. You are not called to just receive, you are called to release. The blessings flowing toward you are answers to prayers someone else hasn't even prayed yet. What God is doing through you is bigger than your comfort. It is about kingdom impact. And the beauty of this chapter is that when people read it, they won't see your greatness, they'll see God's glory. This is your season of expression, not just possession. You are not just walking into a harvest, you are becoming one. Others will feed on the lessons you've learned in secret. They will grow from the wisdom your wilderness produced. They will rise because you refuse to stay low. This new chapter is not a personal success story. It is a divine assignment unfolding in real time. And as the ink of heaven continues to write through your surrendered life, the world won't just watch. They will be changed. Because the power of your next chapter is not in how much it blesses you, but in how many it reaches through you. Let me speak to you now. Not just as someone hearing a message, but as someone standing on the edge of manifestation. You are not just living through time, you are moving through destiny. Heaven has not forgotten your name. The pen of God has not run dry. The author of purpose is still writing, and your life is the parchment where eternity is becoming visible. Every line he writes is intentional. Every chapter he turns is prophetic. And what's ahead of you is not a coincidence. It is a calling waiting to be confirmed. You must not weep over what's been closed. Do not mourn a chapter God has already finished. What you call the end, God calls the foundation. And now the ink of heaven is pressing into the next page. Don't bring old fears into a new season. Don't carry yesterday's doubt into tomorrow's breakthrough. You were not designed to be stuck. You were born to move forward with boldness, with vision, and with fire in your bones. This is the hour to release the past, to silence the inner critic, and to align with the author, because he is writing something through you that generations will read. This is not just about a better life. This is about a fulfilled purpose. You were born with meaning. You were designed with intention. You are not a mistake navigating survival. You are a solution walking in divine strategy. So I declare to you, the page has turned. The pen is moving. The heavens are ready. And now so must you be. Get up. Let go. Step forward. Because God is writing a new chapter of your life. And it will not just surprise you, it will amaze the world.